Well, hey there. Welcome to Unmistakably You. I'm Amy. I am live tonight coming at you to talk about wedding stuff like we do most Wednesdays when our schedule permits. As I am live tonight, I encourage you to say hi, pop in a comment, ask a question. If you have thoughts on anything I say, as always, even if you're catching us on the replay, I would love to hear from you. So you can always track us down. I'm at amy@unmistakably.you.com. Or if you're catching us live, like I said, say hi. Nice to know that I'm not here by myself. Tonight, I just wanted to talk quickly about 5 ways that you can connect with your partner on your wedding day. Now, it's super trite and everybody says it, but it is so very, very true. Your wedding day goes so quickly. It is such a flurry of activity and nerves and excitement and energy that things just kind of snowball. And before you know it, it's the end of the night and you're pulling a million bobby pins out of your hair. So I would encourage you to spend some time with your partner before the day, well before the day if you can, and find some times that you can eke out for just the two of you during the wedding day that you can intentionally set so that you have a minute to just kind of step back and be together and look at each other and say, holy crap, we're married. And to stand back and watch your guests and take it all in and notice the details that you've spent so long slaving over. So often it's such a whirlwind that you don't even get to sample the dessert buffet that you brought in from your favorite bake shop, or you don't get to try that late night mac and cheese bar that you've been looking forward to so much. So step back, take it all in, find time to connect, and be really intentional about spending a little bit of time with each other. Now, like I said, if you have the time, if you're still early in your planning and you haven't set your ceremony time or your photography schedule yet, that's perfect, because depending on how you choose to approach these things, some of them can kind of dictate the overall structure of your day. But never fear, if you're really quite close to your wedding when you're listening to this, there is still time to adjust your schedule and to squeeze in a couple of connection moments, if you will, that don't need to eat up hours on the day and that don't necessitate a change in ceremony time or a complete, upending of your photography schedule. So 5 suggestions, although don't let your creativity be limited by just my 5 suggestions today. There are lots of ways that you can find time to spend with each other on the wedding day. And I encourage you to share some of those with us if you found a way to connect on your wedding day, or if you have an idea that you and your partner are going to try out at your upcoming wedding. Ultimately, the goal is just that the day doesn't pass you by with you being ships in the night. It can be so busy with the getting ready. You're usually getting ready in separate locations, and then you come together for the ceremony, you do your photos, but that's not really quality time because you're following the prompts of the photographer and you're making sure that you get all your family groupings. And then if you're mingling at cocktail hour, oftentimes you split up and you don't really get that time together to enjoy the day, which is really all about you. So be intentional, find some times, be creative. I'd love to hear how you found a way to connect or are going to find a way to connect on your wedding day. The 5 that I would like to suggest in sort of vaguely chronological order would start with number 1. If you're not superstitious or really traditional, stay together the night before, have breakfast together, just the two of you. I mean, you certainly can have a sleepover with all of your bridesmaids. You can do the whole stay apart the night before thing. That's cool. If that's your jam, absolutely do that. But if you don't necessarily care about that, spend some quiet time in the morning together. Stay at home, wake up, have a coffee on your deck, enjoy breakfast at your favorite breakfast place, spend some quality time together before the crazy starts. That would be a really nice way to just kind of ground yourselves in the morning, to calm yourselves before all of the hype starts, and just to enjoy a little bit of quality time together. Next thing would be to do a first look. Now, this is not rocket science. I didn't invent this. I wish I had, because it's brilliant and I love it when my couples do first looks. But Again, it's not for everybody. If you do, however, choose to do a first look, it doesn't have to be a big, long, drawn out, all of our photos are happening at this point kind of a situation. If you're so far into your planning that you've already set your ceremony time and based it not on having a first look, you can still squeeze in a short 15-minute connection time pre-ceremony. Do it with just you and your photographer. It's an incredible time to just be real with each other, to be honest, to not have to worry about all of the onlookers who are witnessing your emotions at that first look. It's just the two of you. You can be real, you can be honest, you can have that moment to just, touch, just kiss, just hug, just enjoy each other, compliment each other, talk about your feelings. You can certainly use that time to read your personal vows to each other if you're not going to share those at the ceremony with all of your guests looking on. But it doesn't have to be this big, long, turn into an hour of formal photos thing if you don't have time for that. If you've scheduled your day to have a first look so that you are then doing all of your formal photos and your wedding party photos pre-ceremony, that's cool too. But if you're planning on not having a first look, you can still squeeze in that time just to connect and relieve some of those nerves prior to the ceremony. Now, if you are a little more traditional and you want that first look to be at the end of the aisle, you can still do what I like to call a first non-look. And it's still the same principle. You can talk, you can touch, you can connect, you can just hold hands and breathe. But you don't have to see each other. Find a door that each of you can stand on one side of, or a wall. You can stand around a corner. Find a big, gigantic old oak tree or a willow tree. Find somewhere where you can, with assistance, obviously, get positioned so that you can be in the proximity to touch your partner, to hold hands, but perhaps not to see each other. So the first non-look is a good way to connect, to just share some moments before all of the ceremony hype gets going, and to just really enjoy that time together. I would also suggest that perhaps after the ceremony is a good time to take a few minutes together. There's an awesome Jewish custom that I love called Yichud. And so what you would do is you go off together on your own for at least 8 minutes. I'm not quite sure where the 8 minutes come in, and I'm not going to hypothesize about what you need 8 minutes for alone after the ceremony. But I do love the idea of that, whether it's immediately after the recessional, if you recess to a private place and you just look at each other and you go, haha, wow, we just got married, whether you take your photographer with you, whether you finish maybe your extended family photos after the ceremony and then go take some time before you do your grand entrance into the reception, taking those few minutes to just be married and step back and take it in alone together is really going to do a lot to kind of increase that connection and the intentionality of just spending time together on the day. You can, of course, I'm going to slide in a bonus one here. You can, of course, just also discuss being really intentional about not separating if you're mingling at the cocktail hour, or about finding each other and just standing back during the reception and watching your guests and taking in your decor and enjoying what you've created. You can certainly do that. Just be intentional about it, discuss it beforehand, make sure that it happens, because again, you're going to get pulled in a million different directions on your wedding day. And then my fifth tip is to, actually, I wish this was my tip. I got to admit, I stole this from Rob at Music Central. So Rob, if you're watching this, thank you for this. It's a fantastic idea. With your DJ or your band, choose a couple of connection songs. So these can be songs that were close to making the cut for the first dance, but just didn't quite get there. They can be songs that are special to you for some reason. They can be random songs that you just choose because you like them. But agree on a couple of songs that when they come on, no matter where you are, you hear that song, you make it a beeline for the dance floor, and you find each other and you dance and you connect and you have that moment together to dance and talk and enjoy being married and being in the midst of all of those guests who love you and are there to celebrate with you. So, to recap, 5 ideas. 1, have breakfast together. 2, do a first look. 3, do a first non-look. 4, take some time after the ceremony, whether it's just the 2 of you or the 2 of you and your photographer, to do those, wow, we're officially married pictures, or to just sit back and go, wow, we did it. And 5, choose some connection songs so that during the reception, when you hear those songs, you meet up on the dance floor and you enjoy a dance together before, again, getting pulled off into different groups of people that you haven't seen in years that you want to catch up with. No matter how you do it, try to find at least a few minutes during the wedding day to step back and just enjoy each other's company, because it will go by in a flash. It will be over before you know it. And you want to make sure that you have those memories of standing there with your partner and soaking in the love, basking in the glow. You know, all of the cliches, but do it. You won't regret it. Happy planning. If you have questions, as always, don't hesitate to find me online, send me an email, book a consult. I'm always happy to chat. Until next week, I'm Amy. Happy planning.